Okay guys, today we're going to go over setup and installation of the VH800P FL model, which is what we have here. And the first thing you're going to see, this machine is bolted and it's going to be shrink wrapped on this pallet. This one's not wrapped yet, it's not went out the door, but when you get it, you'll have shrink wrap around the machine. Cut the shrink wrap, make sure you're not cutting through anything, any power cords, any air hose, any gloves, or scraping the window when you cut the shrink wrap. You may want to cut it on the bottom down here where the steel legs are at. Then you're going to want to unwrap the foot pedal and the GFCI connection here that we have, and this unit's going to be wrapped up just like this. We're just going to put that there for a second. Here's your power connection, your GFCI. This has a reset button and a test button if you need to test the functionality of this unit. Normally when you hook it up, you may have to hit the red reset button for the machine to actually get power from the GFCI. And of course this is your reset if something happens on the machine and it needs to reset. Inside's our electrical box. Everything in here, very straightforward, standard. We have power supply, we have a cube relay which controls the pump and the air solenoid on the back, and here's a timer unit. And I want to talk real quickly about that in a few seconds, but for now we're going to leave that be and we're going to continue moving on. So now we've unwrapped the GFCI, we've unwrapped the foot pedal. Next, what you want to do is you want to pull the filtration unit out and your exhaust stack out. And what you're going to notice is inside your unit you have a little funky smell in there. What that is an antimicrobial agent. This may or may not set here. It's on a pallet. We're going to leave it be. Okay, here's your stack. This is your exhaust stack. You're just going to hook this in the back. You're going to see a black flange on the back here that you're going to be able to hook this into. And it's simple as just pressing it right in. Okay, for guys who have a clean room environment, you can use a 5-micron drawstring back filter over this unit. You can pull it over the top, or you can plumb this to an outside exhaust system, or just plumb it outside using some tubing to do so, some accordion style tubing. But we have the exhaust in place. We've just pulled our filtration unit out. This is a sedimentation system. That's what its purpose is. It's actually to settle out the solids and any contaminants that come out of the machine via this top valve. What we're going to do is we're going to hook in our diaphragm pump using this connection right here, and you're going to see an open slot on your unit here. You can just hook that in. Yours may have the connector already in place. You'll just connect the red air tubing here into that unit. This stuff is all push connect, so if you need to remove something, you can pull the sleeve down and then pull the tubing out. Very simple, very easy. That way if you ever need to replace anything or remove an item, you can do so very easily. Okay, so now our air is in place for our pump, so we would actually need to put the hose and connect that to our pump. I'm not going to unzip this unit, but what you're going to do is you're going to have a fitting here, and you might be able to see this plug. This plug here has a locking edge here. When you stick it into the pump exit, right here on this pump, there is a lever here that you need to slide up, and it's going to engage and it's going to hold that tubing into the pump. If you do not slide this lever up and you pressurize this unit, it will blow the tubing out and you will have a mess on your hands. So make sure you slide this little latch up on the pump, and then you can place this back in place. Once you've hooked this up to the pump and your air line up to the pump, you can now come over and you can turn power onto the unit and you can pressurize the unit as soon as you put your suitable air fitting connector here. This is a 1/2 inch NPT What this is just a cleaning unit for your air. Obviously it's a filter. It's going to pull out some water. We're not really concerned about the water. What we're concerned about here is the debris, the contaminants in your air system. What those can do is they can mess up the precision regulator on top. They can mess up components like your solenoids on the back that control your air to your blasting gun, and the solenoid on the side here that controls air to your reservoirs, or excuse me, to your pinch valve. You're going to have a measuring cup, which you will be able to check the abrasive metering video to show you how to properly measure the ratio of abrasive. But you have one of those cups in there. Everything else is in place. Literally all you'd have to do at this point is make sure you put your air to the machine, make sure you put your power to the machine, and fill the machine with water. Make sure before you start filling the machine that these basins are underneath this top fitting here. This is the leveling point of the machine. We do not want the water to go higher, and we really don't care for it to be lower. You want it to start coming out of here. So what you're going to do is you're going to fill the machine through this way, through the cabinet. You don't have to pull the floor up. You can fill it directly into the floor. Put a garden hose, anything that you have to fill the machine. Start filling with water. Then the water is going to start spilling out the side. It's going to come out this fitting. Let it continue to flow until it fills the top bin up first, and then you're going to see a spillover here. It's going to spill over from here into the bottom of your second container. You want the water level to be somewhere up towards the top here. So your water's still filling here. It's pouring out into the top bin first. It's overflowing into the bottom bin, and then you can fill the bottom bin up. Once the bottom bin is full or has filled up the majority of the way, you can shut the water off to your unit. Kind of a little trick that I like to do is before this bin even gets anywhere near full, I go ahead and shut the water off to the machine, let this machine equalize itself, meaning that the machine will actually only fill to here. You know, anything that we've overfilled will drain out into these bins, because you can actually pump water into the machine faster than it can expel it. So what you might do is you might think that you're here and you're good, and you stop filling. Well, the machine still has a lot of water built up in it. Then it's going to start overpouring into your floor. You've just then overfilled the basins in the machine. So fill the machine up until it fills the top bin up, and then a little bit of water into the bottom bin. Shut the water off to the machine. Let it equal out. Once all the water has stopped pouring out of the top fitting, you can come over with your hose and start filling the bottom up the rest of the way. Because at that point, this is leveled, the machine has leveled, and now you can make sure that you get your water level all the way up towards the top of the bottom bin. Then you're fully full of water. You're filled up, you're ready to go. Then you would just dump your abrasive in the machine. 25-pound bucket of abrasive is what we recommend to go into the machine. Just dump it right in the top. You can rinse it down a little bit if you want, but when you start blasting, you're going to get all that abrasive mixed in. You can rinse it down then. So after we've filled the machine, we've put abrasive in it, you're ready to go. It's simple as turning your main power switch on to energize the machine. Lights will come on, everything will become energized, and then it's a matter of hitting the foot pedal to start the blasting. Make sure you grab the blasting gun first and then hit the foot pedal. And then you can adjust your pressures up here with your precision regulator. Very, very easy to do. Precision regulators are very nice on this unit. But again, you have your air connection coming in, regulator is dialed in right here. I do want to point out a couple things. The regulator on the back of this unit here, you're going to see this unit here, this thing is set around 40 to 50 psi. That is monitoring pressure to this pump. Excuse me, I keep saying to this pump. It's monitoring pressure to this pinch valve unit. We do not want to overpressurize the pinch valve. We only want no more than 90 psi. Around 50 to 90, anywhere in there is fine and acceptable, and that can be monitored and adjusted right here. The control unit, this solenoid here, controls the pinch valve. It actually tells power, or it actually stops the airflow to the pinch valve. And it also allows air to the pinch valve. You can manually override this pinch valve, meaning that if it is open and water is flowing out, you can manually override this pinch valve. You can close this unit by pressing this little red button here and turning it in. If you see this button is pressed and turned in, that means that this pinch valve is closed. It actually energizes the unit and pushes air to the pinch valve to close the unit off. If you want to open the pinch valve back up, which you need to have this button depressed at all times, you need to press it, open the red button back up. This could be some rare instance where you've overfilled the machine, it's pouring water all over the place, you need to stop the water flow. You can come back here and press this and it will shut this unit off. Remember, if you disconnect the air real quick, there's no way of shutting this valve off. It's not electronic, it's pneumatic. So there's a rubber bladder in there, there's a rubber sleeve, so when you put air to it, it closes, it presses closed. When you release the air from this unit, it opens up. So it allows things to flow through. That's so that it doesn't clog up. We do not use hoses on this anymore like we used to. This will not clog up like a hose will. If we had a hose going from here to here, potential problem for clogging. On the back, you're going to see a timer unit for the window rinse. This is a timer for the window rinse. It's a delay and a duration. So the delay, you can set the delay on the unit on the minutes part, which is this second dial right here. So this is how long it waits between sprays for the window. This unit here, the seconds, the first one, is how long it actually sprays for. So when it comes on, this right here is going to spray for about 5 seconds. That's what this is set on. It's going to delay, it's going to wait between next spray about 1/2 minute, so 30 seconds to a minute. That's what we have it set on here. So these two dials work that. Okay, moving on to the ball valves below, real quick. This is a valve to drain the unit and clean it out. If you want to drain the water out, your abrasive is still good, you can open this fitting up, drain all of the water from the machine, close it back, refill the machine up to this fitting with fresh water, and your machine's clean. The bottom fitting obviously is to drain the entire machine out, the 1.5 inches. I do want to make a few quick notes. When you're using the machine, obviously you're going to get sweaty, you're going to be dirty. You want to pull the gloves out of the machine after you're done blasting at the end of the day. This is so that it doesn't mold. The inside of these gloves will mold over time from sweaty, greasy, nasty, dirty hands. So pull these out. You do not want to stick your hands in a molded glove. Let me tell you, I've done it way too many times. So pull them out after you use them, let some air out, let them dry down. You have 2 different nozzles in the machine. You have a rinse down nozzle. This is for rinsing the parts and rinsing the cabinet down. And then you have a blasting gun here. Slurry hose is the big 3/4 inch line coming from the pump. And this is your air line coming from the top of the unit over here. This gun has a nozzle tip inside of this housing that you can unscrew, and this nozzle tip can be replaced if worn. This is boron carbide, and it just slides in and out. If you need a replacement tip, give us a call and we can ship you a new one. A couple things to note here, if real quick troubleshooting, if this unit tries to clog or it's not pumping, the first thing to always check is to make sure that this nozzle insert is not actually pushed up against the air insert of the gun. Basically, it would inhibit the slurry flow to come out of the nozzle. You would have air, but you would have no slurry flow. That's kind of a little trick. If this thing were to get loosened up and somehow fall back. Doesn't happen a lot, happens sometimes. Just a little quick tip. Obviously underneath the floor you have a pull ring here to pull the floor up to get to the pump, to service the pump or to clean the machine out from the inside. I always recommend rinsing the machine down after you use it. Rinse the door, rinse the drip pan out, rinse the inside of the cabinet after you use the machine for a day, and you're going to close up the shop. Rinse the machine out, keeps it clean, keeps it healthier, keeps it a lot longer. Let's move to the back real quick. I forgot to cover a couple things here. We have a brass solenoid on the back, and this unit controls air to your blasting gun. That's its main purpose. What we do here is we protect the solenoid with a check valve, so that if you were to depressurize the machine, take the air off, and you were to run the pump without air, the slurry would try to actually backfeed through the lines, and it would ruin this solenoid here if we did not have a check valve. This is only a little bit of insurance. It's not a full coverage, if you will. You could still backfeed if you're not careful, so don't run the machine long without air. That's the main point. But if this unit ever hangs up, give us a call and we could replace these. These are very tough, very durable. Sometimes they do get damaged at shipping, sometimes they do not. Hopefully you've made it there safe. What you're going to find here is the junction box for the pump lead coming out of the cabinet, and everything is connected in here with wire nuts. And of course the other side of the lead is going to the electrical box on the side. The unit is very straightforward, very easy to use. The main important thing is to keep it clean as you can and keep the abrasive in good health so that you're able to process your parts efficiently depending on your application. Hope this helps with the setup of the unit. If you have more questions, give us a call. We're here to help. Thanks for watching.